Welcome everyone once again. Thank you for joining me. Today I'll be exploring a new trading strategy using some new indicators. Well, some of the ones that we have used in the past, but I'll be using two new indicators today along with the fractal I'll be using the pretty good oscillator and the McGinley's. So alright, let's go on to let me just show you my indicators. So my indicators that I've added, I have the fractal, and the setting for the fractal is 10. So let's go to the settings to show you. So the fractal is, the period is 10, so that's what you'd have for yours. And then let's show you the other settings. We go here, the McGinley Dynamic, the period is going to be 20 and the source is closed. So I have that. So you just keep on over that. And then the other oscillator, the other indicator that we're using is the pretty good oscillator, which is, this is the indicator that we are going to use to call the trades. Alright, so just pay attention. So the period for the pretty good oscillator, it is the 20. This 20th period, overbought, oversold, 2 minus 2 for that. So alright then, so whenever it crosses these lines, then we're going to buy and sell respectively. Alright, so you have gotten those now. So the three indicators are the fractal, which is the 10th period, and the McGinley Dynamic, which is the 20th period and where the source is closed, and the oscillator that we're going to be using to call the trades is the pretty good oscillator. Alright, so this is a new strategy as usual. Whenever I add these indicators, you can always go ahead and save a template and give it a name so that you can have it for referencing later on whenever you're trading. And as usual folks, as I said, whenever you're trading, no strategy is perfect. Before you trade a strategy, you must always go to your practice account and do the test run. The test run, because the volatility affects the effectiveness of these trading strategies at times. Some of the times you have to manipulate certain things in order to get the results that you want. So therefore, if the market is volatile a certain way, you might have to change the time frame in which you're trading. So for example, that's a time frame. I mean, for example, you're calling your trades in the 1 minute time frame, 2 minute time frame. If the volatility is a certain way, then you might have to step up the time frame a bit. You might have to move from 1 minute to 3 minutes, or from 3 minutes to 5 minutes. So with that said, also just another thing that I need to point out here, the candlestick time periods that I'm using is 30 seconds. And I prefer to use 30 seconds because, as you know, at the end of the purchase time, which is this, it counts down to 30 seconds. So I prefer to use that. I think I'll get a better view of what the market is doing that way. So let's go in. As I said, with the idea with the pretty good oscillator now, here is how we're going to call our trades. These two lines, this line is the oversold line and this line is the overbought line. Alright, the oversold line, well, the red one is the oversold and the green one is the overbought. Sorry about that. So whenever this line here moves up, starts to move across this line, you're going to put in a trade to buy. Alright, and what I'm buying on, I typically use the 3 minute or the 5 minute to call my trades. However, whenever this line is going across this line here, means that you're going to sell. So as usual, you use whether you're 1 minute, you can select your time frames. It depending on the candlestick times that you're using, then that would affect, then I said that would decide which time frame you prefer to trade your trades, call the trades in. But typically that's what we're going to do. You go across the green line, we buy. You go across the red line, we sell. Alright, so that's what we're going to do. So what I have, the McGinley's Dynamic here as a backup. I have this is the 20 period moving average. Alright, that's what I have here, and I have it for the close. So what this tells me is that this kind of helps me to gauge which side the market is on, whether it's in a bearish mode or a bullish mode. So whenever it's below the line, that means it's bearish. Whenever it's above this line here, the blue line here, it's bullish. But as I say, you just don't, whenever you're looking for the state of the market, you can't just look here and say, alright, then this is the state of the market. You have to zoom out and then you take a look like this, and as you can see here, what we were having here, we were having lower highs. I mean, so with these indicators now, that they're going to help us to make the right calls, because we're not going to take a trade until the line is crossing this green line or it's crossing this red line. Alright, so this trading strategy is about patience. So you have to be very patient when you're using this trading strategy. Alright, you have to be very patient. So this now looks like it's going to go across that, so I'm going to switch my time frame over to 4 minutes, and I want to put in a trade to buy, but I'm going to wait until it comes back down a little bit. I'm not going to place my trade when it's at the top. Alright, I don't want to get caught out, because some of the times you might have a false breakout. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait here. I'm going to wait. I missed the opportunity to call the trade. As you can see, I should have called it from it was just below here heading up. But typically what we do is we call the trade whenever it's going up. Alright, so as you can see, so I'm going to have to look for another setup, because if I enter a trade here, I might end up losing, because as I said, it's now across, it's now being oversold, and as we all know, whenever it's oversold, I mean, it's time for it to dive down. So you have to be very careful before you enter that trade. So you can't enter that trade there. So it's above this line here, which is saying it's bullish for the time being. But as I said, the principle that we're using here is whenever I cross this line heading up, we're going to buy, and whenever I cross this line heading down, we're going to sell. So therefore it has already crossed this line going up. So opportunity to place a buy trade has passed, so I'm not going to go into that. Alright, so let's look on another pair, see if we see another setup. Well, it's not giving us anything there at the moment. Let's look at this pair. This is not giving us anything either, so let's go back up here and see if we see anything. Alright, so I'm going to switch this to the 5 minute. So looks like it might be going on, so I'm going to sell here. Alright, because it's going back down. It was being oversold and now it's heading back down, so I'm going to take the chance. I'm going to go down. And remember, I said ideally this is a patient strategy. You have to be very patient to use this strategy, because at the end of the day, whenever the market is volatile, patience is the thing that's going to see you through. If you're not patient, then you can end up losing all your money. You have to be very patient. It's better to take 2 good trades rather than to take 4 bad trades. Alright, so let's be patient. Alright, let's check on the other ones and see if we see any other thing here. Well, this is not approaching that, so let's see. Nothing in that yet, nothing in that one as yet either. So it's about patience. So typically what I would have done is I would have taken another trade here, because this is my first entry and it's now above my first entry. So typically what I would have done, I would have taken another trade. Let's see if we can find another pair, another pair that has some sort of movement. Let's see this one. As I said, with this trading strategy, it's about patience. It's about patience. Hence the reason why I added the fractals and the McGINLEY dynamic, because I'm encouraging to be patient. But if by any chance you feel like you want to go ahead and take a trade before it hits this line, before this line start going across this line, or this line start going across this line, then you'd use the fractal and the McGinley as your guide. Alright, so I'm going to place a trade now because this is going down. I would encourage you to use this strategy on the 2, 3, 4 and 5 minutes. You can use it on other time frames, but it's up to you. Place my sell trade now, so because this is now heading down, I'm expecting it to go down further. Alright, so I did so in the 5-minute time frame, because if I should do it in a shorter time frame, then the chances are my trade won't go the way I predict that it may be going, that it will be going. Alright. As you can see, so this was a good trade, and let's check on this one again. This one was a good trade also. Alright, so as you can see, we picked up this trade when it was heading up. Alright, so as you see, continues to head up, and it was above the McGinley dynamic as well, and according to the fractal, it was heading higher. So then all the indicators were pointing in the direction that the market should be going up, so hence the reason why I placed the buy trade here. Alright, for this one now, we took a trade here. It was heading down, it was just above the McGinley dynamic, but it was heading down based on the trend. It was heading down, and so it was heading down here, so we decided to enter a sell trade, and so therefore we sold it, and it ended here. Alright, so we had 2 trades. One ended evenly, broke even on one, and this one ended here, so we ended it here. Alright, so those are the reasons why we took those trades, and they were both good. So let's wait now. The other opportunity that we'll be waiting for here now is when this starts to go up back across this red line here, then we'll enter a buy trade. So let me just set my thing here for 5 minutes and just go back across to this one, and let's see what's happening here now. Alright, set this to 5 minutes as well and wait, and then now we have another trade here. As I said, with this strategy you have to be very patient. It's a patient strategy, so you can't be too quick to call your trades. You have to be patient, because really and truly we are waiting on when this line here starts to cross this line, the red line or the green line. Alright, if it's going up, that means we enter a buy trade. If it's heading down across the red, we enter a sell trade. So if it's heading up across the green, we enter a buy trade, and if it's heading down across the green, we enter a sell trade. So that's how we use the pretty good oscillator. But I also have 2 other indicators here that I'm using to help me out. Alright, the fractals and the McGinley dynamic. As you can see, we sold when it was heading down across the green line. Right, it was heading down. It wasn't yet across the McGinley dynamic, but it was heading down across the pretty good oscillator, and so we entered a swell trade here. As you can see, we did this on a 5-minute time frame, and so it ended up down here, so it was a good trade for us. Alright, the fractal was also saying that it was going down, so that was good. So I'm going to enter a sell trade here, because this is heading down. I enter a sell trade on a 5-minute time frame. Alright, and so therefore this is going to be our benchmark. If it comes back up across this, then we can go ahead and take another trade to sell. Alright, but at the moment we're not going to do so because it's not about that. Alright, so as you can see, it's heading down. It's about to go across the McGinley dynamic, which means that we'll be heading into a bear state. That's the reason why I took a trade to sell. But as you can see, I took it on the 5 minutes so that I have enough time, because the market is going to do its thing. It's going to do the double tops, double bottoms, and what again can I say, the zigzags and the bouncy. So you have to give it the time to do that. You have to be smart when you're placing the trades. Alright, so let's go ahead and look for other setups. Let's see, this one can't enter that one. Let's see, can't enter this one either. This is suggesting, as I see, we can see we have the 3 green boys, so that seems that it might be heading back up. But at the moment, as you can see, this fractal here saying that it should be heading low. So let's see how this turns out. Entered it on the wrong time frame. There's a chance that I'm going to end up lose that trade. So as you can see here, with this one, we entered it when it was going across on the 5 minute. Going down. Alright, you can see Fractal saying was going down. So we had the fractals are saying was going down, and this here, as I say, was crossing this line on the pretty good oscillator. You're saying was going down. So that was that for that as well. So that's good. So that was a good trade. As I said, I entered this trade incorrectly on the wrong time frame, so that's the reason why we're having that sort of trouble there. Alright, it's a buy trade here. Looks like it's going to go up, huh? It's coming down. Let's wait and see. So it has fallen below my benchmark, so typically what I do in cases like those, I go ahead and place another trade because it's below my first line of entry. So that you do that in cases where you're sure, where you're based on your analysis, you're certain that hey, this thing is going to end above my original entry, so therefore you can go ahead and place another trade. Let's say this is now, we just have to sit and see what the end results are, because we took the trade based on the indicators, but as you know, the market is very tricky at times. So this is a game that you have to be very patient whenever you're playing this game of trading. This is your hard-earned cash, and so therefore you must be patient and you should take the time to do the proper analysis. And as I say, no trading strategy works 100%. Alright, with this trading strategy, as I say, it's about 70 to 90% in terms of profitability. Depending on how you use it, it could be way more. You just, as I say, you have to be patient. You have to know when to call your trades and be patient and call your trades good. Alright, so that's how it works in this sort of thing. Alright, as you can see, this one was very close. This option allows you to close the trade before the period ends, but you have to look here. So if I should close this trade now, I'm going to end with this profit. So if you want to go ahead and close the trade before it ends, don't close it before it turns green. Alright, we're using the pretty good oscillator, which is this pretty good oscillator, 20 moving average, and as you can see, period 20, overbought 2, oversold -2, and so we get to that. And we also are using the McGinley dynamic, which is 20 period, and we have it for the close. We're also using the fractals, So as you can see, McGINLEY Dynamic, this is a really good thing to use, a really good indicator. If it can be applied to many charts, many different strategies. It's really good. It's a really good indicator. So the 20 period close, and we're also using the fractals. And the fractals is at the 10 period. Alright, close. So this, as you can see, this is where our trade ended. So that's how that trade ended for us. As you can see, we took it here when it was heading up, danced around, and it danced around. Unfortunately for us, it ended above our entry. Alright, so therefore it ended in profit for us. So as you can see, thank you for watching again. Go ahead, try the strategy on your own. You can manipulate, you can make the adjustments as you see fit. You can change your candlesticks time, you can change to 5 seconds if you want to, and you can change to, you can use the 30 seconds like I've been using. Alright, so it's up to you. Thank you for watching. Please check out the links below my video and share this video, and give me a thumbs up and a like if you like what I've just showed you here, and thank you for your support.